Aircraft carriers of the future. The Americans are in the lead, and the Russians have gone their way. Aircraft carriers are one of the most powerful, effective, and versatile weapons to dominate the planet and impose their will on others. In today's world, as British Admiral Mark Stanford, former Commander-in-Chief of the British Royal Navy, so aptly put it, countries that aspire to have strategic international influence have aircraft carriers. And now, as the world is shaking and even ordinary people are becoming more and more aware that other redistribution of human civilization is coming, the role of aircraft carriers is even more important. In this video, we talk about aircraft carriers, which will express the will of their states in a decade. So how do the world's leading nations see this instrument of war? And do they see it at all? We'll start with the undisputed leader in this field, the United States of America. This country has the largest fleet of aircraft carriers. It currently has 10 of them. At the same time, the total area of these aircraft carriers where the aircraft are located is twice as much as the total area of the decks and all other aircraft carriers in the world. What does this country plan to dominate in a decade? Well, of course, it's the third-generation super aircraft carriers like the GERALD R. Ford, which have already begun to replace the second-generation NIMITZ-CLASS aircraft carriers. The GERALD R. Ford was commissioned on May 31, 2017. The next aircraft carrier of this class, the John F. Kennedy, is scheduled to enter service in 2024. The last 10th is as far back as 2058. So what is this $17 billion mega machine, and why is it called a third-generation aircraft carrier? The technical specifications of the GERALD R. Ford are impressive. Although its dimensions are comparable to the previous generation aircraft carriers, it's 1,106 feet long, 256 feet wide, and 134 feet high. But the stuffing of these thousands of cubic feet is quite different. To begin with, this monster of 100,000-ton displacement is indistinguishable from the rest of the aircraft carrier strike group on enemy radar. What target to hit? Secondly, the heart of this ship is the two new A1B nuclear reactors, capable of producing a quarter more electricity than their counterparts on previous generations of ships. The reactors are designed for 50 years of operation and do not need to be refueled during this time. Their power allows this giant to accelerate to a speed of 30 knots, 34.5 miles per hour. In the Second World War, torpedo boats sailed at such speeds, and only in attack mode. Thirdly, it'll carry up to 90 aircraft, helicopters, and UAVs, among which the bulk of them will be the F-35C multi-role fifth-generation fighter bomber, which is the deck version of the F-35 fighter that has twice the range of the F-35A and F-35B. You say the Nimitz also carries up to 90 aircraft? But not the fifth generation. Besides, GERALD R. Ford has no steam but electromagnetic catapults with much higher capacity. Therefore, the new super aircraft carrier can provide 160 sorties per day, and at its peak even 220. But the Nimitz with its puffing catapults can provide only 120 sorties. In other words, even without taking into account the higher performance of the F-35C compared to the F-14 and FA-18 fourth-generation fighters, the aircraft carrier GERALD R. Ford has 30% more powerful weapons than the Nimitz. You have to agree that's an impressive figure. True, the electromagnetic catapults have not yet reached their design capacity. Their operation is accompanied by frequent breakdowns. But this is all fixable, and it's a matter of time to bring their design to the right condition. And how are the other countries doing in terms of building new aircraft carriers? And here, first of all, of course, we should talk about France. French President EMMANUEL Macron, speaking on December 8, 2020 at the headquarters of the French Nuclear Industrial Corporation, Framatome and La Creusot, announced the beginning of the practical implementation of the PORTE AVION NOUVELLE generation, abbreviated PANG, design and construction of an advanced aircraft carrier for the French Navy, and that this ship will be equipped with a nuclear power plant. The new aircraft carrier is due to enter the French Navy in 2038 to replace the only French aircraft carrier in the fleet since 2001, the R-91 Charles de Gaulle. The new French aircraft carrier, according to preliminary data, will be much larger than the Charles de Gaulle and have a total displacement of about 75,000 tons, and the greatest length of up to 300 meters and a width of 80 meters. But as we can see, it's a quarter of the size of the American super aircraft carrier. The power plant of the ship will include 2 nuclear reactors of a new type, K-22, with a thermal capacity of 220 megawatts each, and 3 shaft lines with a total capacity of 80 megawatts with propellers. The total power generated, including electrical power, will be 110 megawatts. The full speed will be 26 to 27 knots, which means it'll be inferior to Gerald R. Ford. The ship will be able to carry 30 advanced 6th-generation FCAS fighters, which are being developed under French and German leadership, with the role of the French company Dassault Aviation as the lead contractor. There will also be 2 or 3 Northrop Grumman E-2D Advanced HAWKEYE long-range radar detection and control aircraft, and some UAVs and helicopters. The aircraft carrier will use a horizontal catapult takeoff and horizontal landing system with an air finisher. American equipment will be used for this, including 3 90-meter EMALS electromagnetic catapults and General Atomics Corporation AAG air finishers used on new U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carriers such as the Gerald R. Ford. In general, the fact that France is a junior U.S. NATO partner is also felt in the comparison of the aircraft carriers. Unexpectedly, South Korea also wanted its aircraft carrier. Why unexpected, though? South Korea's proximity to China, which is rapidly becoming militarized, simply forces the country's leadership to strengthen its military power. In particular, South Korea is seriously planning to add an aircraft carrier to its naval forces. To that end, South Korea's Hyundai Heavy Industries signed a memorandum of understanding with the British company Babcock International on September 1, 2021, on cooperation in the construction of the Republic of Korea's first light aircraft carrier under the CVX program. The project's total cost is estimated at 2 trillion won, or 1.8 billion. The developed model expands the operational capabilities of the aircraft carrier through an improved design of the takeoff and landing system and the use of an integrated combat control system using unmanned aerial vehicles and boats. Completion of the project is scheduled for 2033. The aircraft carrier from Babcock and HHI will be 263 meters long, 46.6 meters wide, and have a displacement of 45,000 tons. The design maximum speed is 27 knots. The aircraft carrier will be able to carry up to 16 short takeoff and vertical landing fighters, such as the F-35B on deck, as well as 12 fighters in the hangar. Last August, the Republic of Korea's Ministry of National Defense confirmed that 20 F-35B fighters would be purchased for the CVX project. The aircraft carrier will also house helicopters for the Marines. This is the end of the story of promising aircraft carriers among Western-oriented countries, Great Britain, having recently launched the aircraft carriers Queen Elizabeth and Prince of Wales, cannot find money to refine them and make them operationally ready. What's another aircraft carrier? And how do the potential adversary of the West, China and Russia, stand? Today, China has 2 aircraft carriers, the aircraft carrier Liaoning, made from the former Soviet aircraft carrier Varyag, which Ukraine sold to China in 1998. And the second aircraft carrier, Shandong, purely Chinese, was made to the Type 002 design and launched in April 2017. But the third aircraft carrier, Fujian, which was launched on June 17, 2022, is the most interesting. It's based on the Type 3 project. As is traditional for China, little is known about the new aircraft carrier. According to official data, the total displacement of the aircraft carrier Fujian is more than 80,000 tons. But according to U.S. intelligence information, the Chinese ship's displacement will be closer to a figure of 100,000 tons. Analyst Robert Farley believes the Type 3 will be the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier ever built outside the United States. Experts also speculate that the Fujian was probably largely based on the design of the unfinished Soviet nuclear-powered aircraft carrier cruiser Ulyanovsk, but without integrated heavy weapons like the P-700 Granite anti-ship cruise missiles. It's assumed that Type 3 will use 3 electromagnetic catapults and will carry up to 40 Chinese 5th-generation fighters. You tell me why only 40 aircraft? After all, the similarly sized Gerald R. Ford has 90 aircraft. Most likely, the point is that the Fujian will have a non-nuclear propulsion system, which severely limits its energy capabilities. Here, one can only say, and thank God. What about Russia? And Russia is not yet considering projects to build new aircraft carriers, having only one, the Admiral KUZNETSOV, built back in 1991 and now undergoing an overhaul. The Russians believe that it's more promising and less costly to build small ships equipped with hypersonic missiles such as the Zircon. Well, time will tell how right their concept was. What do you think about building new aircraft carriers, the cost of which starts with a number with at least 9 zeros? Tell us about it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That'd be the best reward for us. If you don't want to miss new interesting videos about new weapons, subscribe to our channel by clicking the bell. See you soon.